Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of the Inkwell Gamers podcast. Today, we are joined by our very special guest. It is Willow from the Inkwell Gamers. It is our cat. So if you hear her purring, just
ignore it.
Just ignore it. She's just chilling in our lap.
It's either that or she meows outside the door. So.
Yeah. So I think we prefer this. So today we have a couple things to talk about. We're going to talk about the tournament that Dana and I went to this past weekend, a little 1K. We're going to talk about the Pack 2K tournament coming up this weekend, and potentially, depending on time, our feelings on not getting into Atlanta.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Very sad. Well, that's our feelings anyway.
Yep. So
should we just start off with that?
Yeah, we can start off with that.
Might as well.
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, like 30 seconds and it was gone.
Yeah, 30 seconds. We were just sitting there refreshing on our laptops, and you know what? That just was not good enough.
No, and I mean, really sad. We did address, okay, what's going to happen if one of us gets a ticket and one of us doesn't. We decided that we are going to go regardless. However, I actually had a thought that you and I haven't talked about in person yet. So, because, I mean, we're not the only household where multiple people within the household did want to go to the event, and maybe only one person got tickets. I think there have been a couple people on Twitter that have said that. And I was thinking, you know, the whole game plan is, let's face it, between the two of us, you have more of a shot of when we go to these tournaments. Don't eye roll me. And so we are like, okay, if we get one ticket, you'll go, like, you'll play in it, and I'll just go and have a good time, you know? But the fact that they're not allowing the tickets to be transferred, which I do respect, because I think it's going to deter scalpers tremendously.
It's probably a good thing.
Right. But I think, I didn't even think about it. What if theoretically you didn't get a ticket on your laptop, and using my name, I got one, and I can't say, here, you take my ticket. And so that's kind of a bummer. Although, again, I mean, I like that they're trying to deter scalpers by doing that, but I hope that maybe they in the future will do like limit 2, because then that does give entire household, well, not entire, but, you know, theoretically it does give, you know, couples the opportunity to buy the tickets in pairs, so they can ensure that they both get to go and participate.
Yeah, my guess is that for Chicago, and probably definitely after Chicago, they're really going to up the cap. I'm guessing they have the venue for Chicago already, so it's not like they can like maybe they can quadruple the cap. I don't know what venue they have, but they'll be able to plan out the venues appropriately going forward. I liked what they said. There was a screenshot of one of the Ravensburger employees saying that they just had to see that, you know, they did expect that this event would, they hoped and thought that this event could fill rapidly, which it did, but they just need to see it happen first, just for proof that their event was going to be successful, I think. And I respect that. I wish that they set the number a little bit higher, but I understand where they're coming from. They don't want to set the cap at 1,000 people and then have a bigger venue and then only 500 people show up, because then they're just going to lose money, and them losing money would make them less likely to want to run tournaments in the future.
Yeah.
So I was fine with the cap where it was. I wasn't expecting it to sell out in a minute, but it did, and this is where we are. It sucks that we didn't get tickets, but I am hopeful that going forward, it will be pretty much a non-issue.
Yeah. PPG said that they got over like 40,000 hits on Eventbrite that day, or on their website that day. Now, I don't know if they have the ability to cipher through that data and determine, okay, what was bots, what was truly real people. But I'd be interested to see if they do have the ability to analyze that data so they can get a clearer picture of
interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is that it probably was not 40,000 real people. I
Right.
just don't see that because most tournaments of other various card games, I don't think really come close to that.
Oh gosh, no.
Definitely not. That's like a college football game or something, So,
Yeah.
so uh, it was probably like 5,000 real people at tops or something. But regardless, I still think they'll be able to correct it in the future, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for the people that do get to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of our friends that we befriended because of this game online, I saw that they were able to score tickets. So good luck to all of you guys. We can't wait to hear how it goes, how much fun it is. We'll be cheering you guys on from at home. I'm assuming they're going to stream it. So hopefully we get to see some of you guys on the live stream.
Absolutely. Even some of the people we've met in person are getting to go.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. A little jealous.
Yeah,
But
I'm a little
excited
jealous.
for them too.
Absolutely.
All right. So next, we're just going to jump to the next topic. We are going to talk about the tournament that we both played in this past weekend. It was just a case tournament, so a case worth of prizes for the top 8 competitors. There was only 13 people there, not too many.
The facility was really nice, though. We did tell ourselves that if they were to ever host something again, we'd definitely go back.
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive facility. Just a lot of room. It was clean.
Which that's so sad that that's our standard, but that it's so true. Like there are a couple stores in our area where some of our friends talk about potentially going there, and we already have been there and are like, yeah, don't go there. No. They got dirty bathrooms
like,
or something like that.
If you need to go pee, I would not go in there.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad that that's our judgment of facilities, but in all reality, like that's something that a lot of people care about is just overall cleanliness, space, and a lot of people care about that kind of stuff, and I'm one of them.
I care about it too. I think one of the most important things for a game store is just like walking in and how it makes me feel when I walk in. Like if I feel like, am I really cluttered, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you know that there have been studies that have done about like how quickly we make first impressions, and same thing goes for a facility too. I mean, you can judge within the first 5 seconds whether it's going to be a nice place or not. So yeah, this was one of them. Like you said, it was a lower attendance than what we would have liked, but the overall experience was really positive and really, really nice, and I'd go back.
Yeah, played against some pretty good players. Everyone that I played against was pretty nice, so yeah, it was enjoyable, even if we didn't do as well as we might have wanted.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, but I know I have to for this episode, so let's just rip the Band-Aid off and start, right?
Yeah. Do you want to start with yours?
I guess. So, straight up, I went over. It was the worst I've ever done. Normally, I am happy even if I drop a whole match, I'm happy if I at least get one win out of it. And when we go to tournaments, there have been either a couple that I do like straight up win, or a couple that if I lose, I at least win one game. And out of the 4 rounds, I did that once. So 0-2-0-2,
yeah,
1-2-0-2. That was rough.
And you're really close to winning that first match too.
Yeah.
Really close.
Yeah, I got my order out of order, but I'll just jump into it. My first round, I played against the Seal Jafar wheel. That one I did go 1 and 2 in. I thought I could have squeezed that one out, but I was 1 turn off. And it sucks because I tried to outrace them, but because I didn't have any damage cards, I couldn't get rid of their smaller Jafars because they were purposefully not using them in order to save it for the shift. So I didn't have anything to try to target it. I'm pretty sure, and this is me just admitting, I kind of am blanking on their smaller Jafars that they were using, but I don't even think my Kit Cloud Kicker would bounce them because I think they might have been like a 3 strength.
Yep, they're 3 2s and 3 4s.
Yeah. So I didn't even have anything. In all honesty, I think my biggest regret is that I wasn't playing Mother Knows Best because I was thinking, oh, Kit can come in and do something for. I mean, Kit is great for like the Steel Song decks if I played those, which I didn't. And we'll get into the other ones, but yeah, I just wasn't able to slow them down or get them off tempo.
Yeah, you just need that little piece of interaction, and
yes,
just didn't have very much of it.
Yep. So they did the whole new world thing, and then pretty sure they did. They got their other whole new world off of a Friends on the Other Side.
Yeah, they whole new world played Friends on the Other Side, so they gained 9 lore. They used the 1-cost Simba to draw a card and discard a card to gain a lore.
Yes.
And that was the last draw they had, and pretty much the last opportunity they had to draw their next copy of a whole new world, because I was sitting next to the guy she was playing, so I could see his hand.
And we were pretty close going to time, too, and you were done by then. So I forgot that you were able to watch that one. Yeah, I think I also might have misplayed one turn that may or may not have costed me being just off one turn. But I had 6 ink with a fox and a rabbit in hand. And obviously I didn't have enough ink to play both. And so I should have played rabbit first and gambled on the fact that I would draw another inkable in order to play the fox, but I didn't do that. And yeah, I wasn't able to play both of them. So I chose the one over the other. So that sucked. And I should mention too, I think my biggest thing was that I had not played the bounce synergy up until this point. We put together that deck a couple days before, and I practiced with it one night with you. I should have practiced with it more. I didn't get on the bounce train when set 2 came out because I still wanted to do my own thing with Emerald, and just knowing that kind of synergy, it makes me it was very uncomfortable for me to play. And there was actually a situation I'll get into in a second that kind of made me realize I did not like to play this deck. But yeah, so second round, it was a mirror match. I was not prepared for the mirror match. I think because I was so underprepared, you and I discussed a lot about, okay, if you see this deck, I would focus on mulliganing for these cards. If you see this one, yada, yada. But we both completely forgot that I might encounter a mirror match. And there was, I think, 4 other decks there too that were the Emerald Amethyst bounce aggro. So I was not prepared for that at all. And I didn't realize how important Kit would have been in that matchup. And it went very quick. But my opponent was really friendly and talking about it with me after. He was like, hey, just a heads up, like there are a couple other decks like this here, and you inked a Kit, I probably would have kept it because that's probably your best card against your mirror. And so I appreciated him like spending the time and kind of coaching me through it, because I told him, I was like, this is the first time I've played this deck. I never did the bounce up until this week. So yeah, I thank you for asking if I wanted advice, because yes, I do. It's going to be a long day if not, right? But yeah, so that went super quick. Moving on. Third round, I played Emerald Steel, which is the deck that I think I'm now going to gravitate towards. But they tinked into swords twice and just board wiped me both times. Tink, swords. And then I tried to establish my board again. Tink, swords, and it was just like game over. So yeah, that was rough as well. And then fourth round, I played Ruby Amethyst. To be honest, I don't have many notes in my phone from that match because that was it. I was defeated for the day. And after that third match, I just told myself, like, yeah, I'm never playing this deck again. I think my biggest takeaway from this weekend is the fact that I still might not have necessarily known what kind of player I wanted to be. Do I want to be an aggro? Do I want to be control? I think I'm settling in the mid-range because my biggest hurt playing this bounce aggro is that I felt like I didn't have a lot of answers to slow down my opponent, but I also felt like I didn't have the kind of cards that I was playing first set that was an aggro deck that were more de-incentivizing for my opponent to try to challenge or get off. They didn't have as many answers to it. Obviously, there were less cards at that time, but I was playing Genie on the Jobs. I was playing the Ursulas. I was playing a lot of things that, and Cusco's, that when I put it down on the board, my opponent was like, oh, how am I going to deal with that? And this kind of deck didn't have anything like that. So, yeah, I think I just, as a newer player, the hardest part has been me trying to figure out what kind of archetype do I like to play? What am I most comfortable with? What's most fun for me? What clicks, you know?
Yep. Yeah, so it's kind of tough because even though the deck you played this weekend was kind of a tempo deck, so it was probably slightly more aggressive leaning, it has the potential to play like a mid-game and controlling style against other lower to the ground aggro decks. So
I felt like there were a lot of times in which I was playing such smaller characters that I wasn't able to make favorable trades if I needed. When you're playing the aggressive deck and you need to identify when you need to swap to start to become control to slow down your opponent, and like I was identifying like I need to start challenging here, but I didn't have anything substantial enough. So
so part of that is just knowing the matchup and being able to mulligan properly, right? Mm-hmm. The other part of that is you're playing green, which is inherently bad at challenging.
Stop it. See, that's why, I mean...
Green's not a good challenging color.
Well, that's why I think I do want to go to Emerald Steel again, is because I like having the... Like, I feel like Emerald has the potential to have a lot of high questing characters. They might be kind of squishy, but having Steel as a supplemental, I think Steel has a lot of good... obviously like removal options and challenger, but they do have a lot of characters that, like Big Cindy, quests for a couple.
Steel's probably just the best color. They have access to everything.
Yeah, it's a very universal color to pair with anything else. And I do still like quite a few cards in Emerald, so that's why I don't want to quite give it up yet, but I definitely identified the fact that I'm not doing that bounce tempo aggro again.
Yeah, so it's kind of tough because as far as being aggro, mid-range, or control, it's important to get used to playing all of those strategies, just because right now mid-range it can be kind of hard to play those decks because the control decks just like Sapphire Steel, that's just a deck that just tries to go over the top of everyone and just do something way more powerful than what all the mid-range decks are doing, and they're pretty good at doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to be a mid-range player when you have that deck, or you have Ruby Sapphire that's just trying to, cast Be Prepared and then kill you with a Lucky Diamond Tamatoa over the course of like 2 turns. So mid-range is kind of a tough place to be right now, which is why I chose to play Steel Sapphire Control. Mm-hmm. I went 2-2. I realized that the deck is incredibly powerful and can do some pretty messed up stuff. That's why I picked the deck. I kind of thought it would be my play style. The first round I played against an Emerald Steel deck. I won pretty easily 2-0. I just kind of did my ramp thing. My wheels were able to outrace any of the discard stuff that they had, and I kind of won pretty easily, which happens when you're playing such a powerful deck sometimes. The next match I played against the opponent that you played against in the first round, the Jafar Wheel opponent, and I won the first game. He won the second game in a close one. He played A Whole New World twice in one turn when he was at like 7 lore, and I died. So in the third game, he just didn't find his like 4th copy of A Whole New World or something, so I was able to win that one. But I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, I know this deck is supposed to be really good, but I'm just not feeling it. Next game, I played the mirror in the next match, and the first game they binged my quill, and then played a Cogsworth. And when they have a Cogsworth and you don't, none of your cards do anything because there's a lot of Tinkerbells and Grab Your Swords. You can't trade into their characters because they have the resist, and their characters can trade into yours. So they just have a way better board presence, and you just can't target down Cogsworth, so they were able to just overwhelm my board presence. I just had no way of coming back. And then the second game, they got 2 Cogsworths out by like turn 6, and the same exact thing happened. That was kind of frustrating. Again, I think I didn't draw the quill, and they did, and I didn't get to Whole New World. They're the one that played it, so it was really advantageous for them. Like, I saw what the deck is really capable of doing, and I'm like, man, I know this deck's powerful, but, like, it wasn't me doing it, so I don't know, it was my first time, like, really playing the deck, so I probably mulliganed poorly or something, but, yeah, I just got absolutely destroyed in the mirror. I know the deck can have crazy draws and stuff, but the fourth match is what kind of took me off the deck, is that I played against Emerald Amethyst Tempo, which I think should be a good matchup because I have Grab Your Swords and Tinkerbell, which is extremely good in that matchup. And I was just stuck on, I just had so many unequals in my deck, and I never hit a quill or like a 1 jump ahead to be able to ramp, and I had like a bell in play, but I only had 5 ink because I never was able to draw anything. Like, I didn't draw the Flowershamn and Popsicle, so I didn't have any card draw, and I had to play a Whole New World just by casting it, and my opponent's this aggressive deck that didn't have any ink problems at that point, and they just flooded the board, and there was nothing I could do. That was the first game, and then the second game, it was kind of just more of the same. I never was really able to get a foothold in the game. I don't think I found a Tinkerbell in this game, or I had to ink it because it was just some, like, the Steel Sapphire Ramp Mirror, I was fine with losing because that was my first time playing it, and I don't know. My opponent just played a Binja on turn 3 or something and killed my quill, and then I couldn't do anything, and so I was like, alright, that happens sometimes. Like, that could have just as easily happened in the inverse. But then I played like a matchup where I think should be good, and I just did absolutely nothing. Just having a bell in play with 5 ink and no cards in your hand because their Ursula like discarded your Grab Your Swords or something, and you're just sitting there with nothing. I don't know. I did not like the experience. I'm probably not going to play that deck too much, even though I know it has more upside than most other decks.
Yeah. Do you think that if you ever were to consider playing it again, I mean, it sounds like Cogsworth, when your opponent was playing it, was pretty much what was
that was the game breaker in the mirror.
The game breaker.
Like,
do you feel like you would add that?
I mean, I was playing Cogsworth too, but they drew more Cogsworth than me. So they were able to get their Cogsworth down first, and they drew more. So there just wasn't anything I could do. I didn't have any, and I think that's also the reason why I don't like this deck, is that if I were to play a ramp deck, it would probably just be the Ruby Sapphire deck, because I want to be able to play Be Prepared and just wipe everything clean. The issue with those decks is that they are just so bad against the Emerald aggro decks that it can be rough. But I would probably choose the Ruby version just because you're good against the Whole New World decks, and you have Be Prepared to clean up the characters that you just have no answer to otherwise. Mainly Cogsworth.
Yeah. I'm kind of intrigued by the ramp deck. I think ultimately the Steel Emerald for me will be a deck that I would be most comfortable in, and that would be probably the most powerful in a tournament setting. But I broke out my old Emerald ramp deck that I was bringing to League in set 2, and we just played it. I put a couple cards in it. Didn't make it super powerful. Just wanted to keep it fun and play cards that I kind of missed, but maybe aren't good anymore. And it felt good. It felt like how my Emerald Amethyst deck was for set 1. It felt so good that I kind of want to explore an Emerald Ramp deck with Cogsworth and just kind of tweak it to where it could potentially have legs in a competitive setting, but TBD, I guess.
Yeah, Cogsworth and Genie are pretty good cards. I know you're kind of hesitant on the Flaversham stuff, but I do think that would make the deck even better. So that deck does look interesting.
It was a lot of fun. And I would eventually put Flaversham in there. I think I was just hesitant at first.
Anti-meta. That's what you were. You're like, I don't want to do the meta thing.
No, well, that's the whole reason why I'm doing like an emerald. I want to do an emerald sapphire. No, I was hesitant on the Flaversham because I saw how you were using it in like your item combo deck, and I just felt like there were way too many moving pieces for me. That deck did have a lot of moving pieces, but I had a bunch of other items and a bunch of other item stuff going on that you had a lot of shit going on that I did not want to have to manage myself.
Yeah, so. That was a lot for me.
Yeah, but I would consider adding him in. Like I said, also Cogsworth too, and exploring that because man, it was fun. It felt good, but it's just unfortunate that it probably isn't going to actually be good.
Hey, just play good cards and you might see some success.
It might,
especially cards that you're comfortable with and are familiar with playing.
It's okay. It might require just some practicing on Pixelborn just to see, but otherwise, I think I would go back to the Emerald Steel. I tried it out in set 2, but I did like the heavy discard, the Prince John, the Bucky, the Floodborns, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't find it fun.
Well, yeah, it makes people feel bad, and you didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't want people to hate me.
In a competitive setting, no one's going to hate you. It's just a deck that I wouldn't take to League.
Oh, of course, no,
which you did.
That was before I didn't know how to play it when I took it to League. Then when I realized, and in my defense, the majority of the time I played you.
Yeah, still.
Although I did play it in a multiplayer game, and I think I lost that one. I think you ended up winning that one.
I did, but you were doing pretty well for a while.
Don't make me feel bad about that. I brought it to League one time. No, but yeah, I had brought it to a small little tournament we did, and it didn't feel good. But I like how the set 3 Emerald Steel is a little bit less heavy on that and more about other things too. Like you got other things going on, so. I don't know, but
I get you.
Yeah. So we have an upcoming tournament this weekend. Well, you do.
You could too.
Hey, I got stuff to do.
Gotta bake some bread.
They don't know that.
Now they do.
Now they do. I bake bread. And
she bakes bread.
I'm making like 3 loaves for Easter on Sunday. So of course I gotta spend my whole Saturday making that. It's a process.
It is a process. I don't envy that. No.
Do you enjoy my bread?
I do like your bread. Your bread is really good.
So I need all Saturday to make it. So that's why I'm not participating. But Dalton is. Let's get back on track. Let's stop talking about my hobbies outside of Lorcana.
Oh, so yeah, the Pack 2K is this weekend. I'm expecting it to be even bigger than the last Pack tournament. More prizes, and they just keep getting bigger. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I have a deck idea. My guess is that the deck is going to be bad.
Okay, walk us through it. Okay, do you want to walk us through
it? Oh,
yeah,
sure. So essentially, it is just a Steel Ruby control deck. So essentially...
So you're doing the Pirates?
No, not doing the Pirates.
Okay.
I considered it, but I just think having a lot of locations in your deck just doesn't lead to you winning very many games, regardless of how good, like, the Steel John Silver can be, and how good Jim Hawkins could be in that shell. But I don't think there's enough good locations to enable that. No, it's just going to be a straight control deck, a lot of Tinkerbells, a lot of Benjas, a lot of Be Prepared, a lot of Grab Your Swords, right?
So damage.
So, yeah, just making sure your opponents can't really stick a lot of stuff, but then it'll also have some aggressive draws by playing Robin Hood on turn 1, a Mr. Smee on turn 2, and then something like Mini Stylish Surfer on turn 3 or Benja on turn 3. Just some good ways to put on pressure against the more controlling decks. Because I think, like, if you're going to play one of these heavy control decks, you have to have a way to beat the Sapphire ramp decks before they can just activate Lucky Dime multiple times. And I think like Robin Hood into Mr. Smee into Mini or Shift Robin Hood, those are the kind of draws that can help you in those matchups, especially because I'm going to be playing some whole new worlds potentially, which I think will be good against like the Ruby Amethyst decks, mainly because they spend a lot of their turns just not really doing a whole lot. And I know that because I play that deck pretty often. And I might go back to that this weekend. My issue is that if people are playing Steel Sapphire, it's just a terrible matchup. They get to points where they have like 14 ink in play and you can't kill them with any reasonable speed, and then they can drop 2 threats every single turn, and then you have to be prepared that threat, but you only have so many Be Prepares, and they have Lucky Diamond, Tamatoa, or Bell, and you just can't keep up. So I don't know if I want to play that deck, because I think it's going to be the most popular. I think Steel Sapphire might be the most popular, so I'm leaning towards an Emerald deck, actually.
Interesting. Huh, how the turntables...
Well, I'm going to tell you, the 2-cost Ursula Deceiver, is an incredibly good card.
So good.
It is good in literally every single matchup, pretty much, because everyone is playing some really good song.
Right.
And I just have to decide whether I like Steel better or Amethyst better. I like Steel better as a color, but there are a couple cards in Amethyst that are leading me towards that just a little bit.
Like?
The Queen's Castle. That's really good against the Emerald Mirrors, and I do expect there to be a decent amount of Emerald decks as well. And Madam M Fox is just a very good card, and Rabbit, for what it's worth, those are just extremely strong cards. So I might lean that direction, but I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to be Emerald Steel.
Copycat.
Steel has the collection of just insanely good cards, from Robin Hood to Beast to Ursula Deceiver of all, Ursula Deceiver, Grab Your Swords. It can... Tinkerbell.
And then if you...
It just does so much.
Right.
And you can kind of just build it to be good against a lot of different things. I'm probably going to have Prince John in the list, because it's kind of just a threat that's good against the controlling decks. So, yeah. I don't know. I have like 3 options that I'm looking at, and I really need to get to work on them.
Interesting. For someone who has been telling me for the past 2 sets that Emerald is not a strong color, you are coming around.
They printed 2 really good Emerald cards this set, both Ursulas, and yeah, I am reasonably excited to play both of them.
Yeah, see?
Yep.
Yeah, I anticipate you'll probably play a similar deck, but do you have any thoughts in the back of your head as to if you would change it at all?
I haven't practiced enough with it to know, really. But I think I am going to go Steel. I think the average card quality is just so good in Steel. And you get Benja, which is just really good against the Sapphire decks. And I think those are going to be popular. So probably gonna go there.
Yeah, it has a really nice feel to it. Because like I said, I felt like with the Emerald Amethyst, I just felt so helpless and not able to deal with any sort of threat that my opponent was putting on the board. And I feel like Steel is that missing piece for having the ability to do a little bit of control, but also quest and gain a good amount of lore too. So it's that nice middle range there.
Yeah, it's good at putting on pressure at various points in the game, and it's good against the aggro decks, and I think the Emerald cards will be good against the control decks. So yeah, I'm excited to play some Emerald Steel, I think.
Well, I guess I will not be seeing you for the next few nights, because I know that you're just going to be practicing. So
I got it.
I know, you gotta test it out. Well, good luck to you. I hope.
Appreciate
Are you
it.
going to stream?
I am.
Okay.
I am going to stream it. Absolutely.
So when this comes out, guys, tomorrow, he will be playing tomorrow.
Yeah,
So.
Don't be stream sniping me either.
Honestly, I don't think anybody listens to this podcast. So
No one watches your stream. No one listens to the podcast. I don't think I have to worry about that too much.
yeah, it's like our two friends.
Hey, we're impacting two people. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for this episode.
I think so. Short and sweet compared to the past couple weeks, but a lot of good stuff. A lot of analyzing. I think the only way I know I'm going to get more and more comfortable with identifying the kind of player I want to be is through tournaments and stuff like that. So
practice.
Yeah. And it's different than League too. Like League, we go and have a good time. Like I built a movie deck.
Yeah, right. I'm going to crush noobs.
Okay, well they're gonna hate you.
Hey, I try to do it with less good decks though.
Whatever. But I mean, like I made a fun deck for this past weekend where I chose 2 movies and I put all the cards in. So I did Hercules and Sleeping Beauty, and it was a lot of fun. It was a cool deck. I played the Titans, which aren't very good, but actually were pretty fun and pretty good. I won a couple games with that, but that's what League's for, babe.
I know.
I need to go. I need to go to tournaments to.
Hopefully everyone knows I'm just kidding about crushing noobs.
He's clearly a very sarcastic person, but yeah, I think going to these tournaments for me is what's really going to help me because I'm seeing some pretty tough competition. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, everybody.
Have a good weekend. Have a good week.
If you're playing in any tournaments this weekend, good luck. Unless you play against me.
Then no GG.
No, also GG, but I don't wish good luck upon you. So, no, I'm just kidding. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye. Bye.